Well, hey, my name is Will Austin, and welcome back to the Saxophone Factory. I wanted to sort of get into, we've been talking about a little jazz improvisation, and I wanted to start with kind of a methodology I use when I'm teaching my own students. And I like to start off with some easy blues changes because, for actually two reasons. Um it should be easy. The chords are usually simple or simpler, and there is a methodology. There's a sequence. There's a form that you must hear in your head to know where and when the chords are changing and where they're going. You got it. So you have to sort of be able to hear the sequence. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a 12-bar blues. It's going to be swing at about 130 beats a minute. And what we're going to do, what we hope to do, is get you to recognize when the chord changes happen, and when we are on the top of the form and the bottom of the form. Be able to hear, and then later be able to hear when there are turnarounds, 2-5-1 turnarounds, either at the beginning or middle or wherever they occur in the form. Sounds like a lot, doesn't it? It isn't. All right, here we go. Here we go. Where are we now? Back at the top of the form. Turn around. You hear it? Can you follow the form? Turn around. Boom, boom, boom. Top of the form. Get it? All right. Now, if you happen to have the changes, this is an F blues. So for an alto, this is actually a blues in D. And I like playing in D because, I don't know, everything sort of falls easily under the fingers. So this is what I teach, how I teach my students to learn to follow the form. Instead of trying to play an idea right away or play chords or scales, let's just dumb it down and get even more simple. Let's just play the letter or the tonic. The tonic of the scale, which is, if it's a D7, then D is a tonic. And it may not be exciting, but it'll never be wrong. It's been my experience that wrong notes, when someone is learning to do improvisation, sort of sucks out confidence. It should be just the opposite, but it tends to suck out confidence. So what I want to do in the beginning is get as much confidence about the form as we possibly can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the tonic of every one of the chords. And if you have your horn, and you should, I want you to do the very same thing. I'm going to I'm going to write these chord changes out and put them somewhere where you can download them. How about that? Would you like that? Please let me remember to do that. Here we go. Blues in D. I like to leave my mistakes in, because hopefully what it lets you know is that I'm just a person. I'm not a superstar or anything, and when I'm practicing something or working on something, I will make a mistake too. So I did that a number of times, and I played all the tonic notes, which means the first of the chord. I like to do that first, and that way, hopefully, you can start hearing when the changes are coming every 4 counts, or every 8 counts, or every 2 counts, or whenever they're coming, and where they're going in a blues progression. Now, a lot of people will teach a blues scale. The problem with teaching a blues scale, in my opinion, is that not everything's a blues. And it sort of prohibits you sometimes from learning the song and the changes that are in the song. And I want you to be able to do that. Because if you're playing a blues scale and a tune's not blues, then you're not really playing that song. Or you're playing a series of scales that you've learned, and a solo that you've kind of learned, but it's not necessarily that song because you're not playing those changes. Does that make sense? That makes sense? I think that makes sense. All right. So the second thing I like to do is I like to play rhythms, or just rhythms on each of the chords. Just some rhythm, some repetitive thing that sort of starts to sound like a solo. Well, you'll see what I'm talking about. Let me back this up and see if I can do this right this time. Here we go. Get it? Now, not the most interesting John Coltrane-ish, Charlie Parker, Sonny Stitt, Paul Desmond-ish solo, but no wrong notes. No wrong notes. So if you're a young player, maybe you're in a middle school jazz band and you just don't know what to play, start there in your practice. Start right there. And even if you're an older player, now I know I've got a lot of folks on this page who are like my age or younger or whatever. Do that, and that way you can follow the changes. And that way, if you're starting the solo and then you start branching out a little bit, you can always go back, because now your ear hears and your eyes see the changes, and that way you'll always know where you are. Many times I've been sitting next to and been the person standing up playing the solo, in a jazz tune, lost in the changes, and then the person next to me has to sort of tap me on the hip and tell me, "Oh, your solo's over," because you didn't have any idea where you were. You weren't listening. You weren't reading, so you weren't playing the song, right? Now you can take this theory, this methodology that I use, and you can expand it by trying to play more and more chord tones per chord symbol, right? Well, you might decide to play, I'm going to play the tonic and the third for every single one, to not to build a solo necessarily, but to give you an idea of how the changes work and how they move, and get you comfortable in the form. Make sense? So, if I was going to do something like that, let me start back here. Excuse me. Pardon me. First and third. Get it? Get it? And I was just trying to get used to what it sounds like in my ear, right? And feels like in my hands. So I can play the first and third and the fifth, first, third, and the seventh. I can start playing the chords, or I can start playing the scales, but I would start where I started. That way you know where the form is, so you don't get lost in the form. Make sense? And before you know it, you are so comfortable, especially in the blues, you're actually playing a real solo. And I tell you what, I just told one of my students who left here, the more you can do, the more fun it is. So what you need to do is get a backing track, a simple backing track like this one. I'll put the link to this Blues in F backing track. Now you have to do some transposition to get the right chords, but I want you just to play with it. All right? I want you to enjoy it and play with it. We'll do more. If you enjoy this, let me know. Write in the comments. You guys are super by writing stuff in the comments. I almost know exactly what you want. I know exactly what you don't want. So just let me know. Yes, I sound different. And I sound different because I'm playing my jazz mouthpiece. I put my jazz piece on. Haven't had it on in a while. It's a Meyer 5M, in case you're wondering. Some people, are interested in, in the equipment. I have a Meyer 5M, which is a medium opening. I am using I think this is a Lavaz medium soft reed. This is a Yamaha 52, yep, which was their intermediate instrument back in the day when they had the 23 and the 23, the 52, and the 62, which was their top of the line instrument at the time before they had the EX. But I've done everything I need to do on this instrument. I have done everything I needed to do on this intermediate instrument. It has an high F sharp key. So with sometimes if you have maybe a student horn or a not so good decent horn, you can upgrade it with a mouthpiece. That should be practice should be your first upgrade. Your mouthpiece should be, and reed should be your second upgrade before you start looking around for that perfect vintage horn or that brand new horn. Go ahead and practice first, and then maybe upgrade a mouthpiece, and then maybe then you can upgrade your instrument. Again, this is an intermediate instrument. This is not a quote professional instrument. This is the step above the student instrument, and it sounds pretty good. It's easy to play in tune. I like it. Okay, that's enough for all the people who are worried about the equipment. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed the video, and come back and see us later. We're still working on, and we have to edit and put the next Rubank advanced method for saxophone unit up. It's recorded. Now it just needs to get put up. Hopefully it'll get put up this weekend. And anyway, till we see you again, keep practicing.